All right, everybody, welcome to episode 2 of the Multi Archives, an official multiverses podcast, ran by me, Bhands, and my official co-host, Streamline. How you doing today, Streamline? How you doing?
Pretty good. Pretty good. How are you?
Doing well. Excited to get this started. Episode 2 of the podcast, and we got our first guest on the show. Ova9k, the best Taz out there right now, I would say. How you doing, Ova? How you feeling?
Yo, what's going on? I'm doing all right. Doing all right. Just hanging out.
Excited to finally get you on the pod. We did talk about doing it a while back before me and Streamline actually got this running, so I knew you had to be one of the first guests, and we've been
Indeed.
friends since Zeddy now, right? That was
Bro,
like
you were my
EXT.
first you were my first L.
Oof.
We were, yeah, I think we were literally round one of the first ever Zeddy.
Yep. And I remember that match, crazy. I remember your Rick. Just seeing what you do with Rick versus me or whatever, I was like, "Oh, this man is going places."
Definitely crazy. That was when I was like, Rick was still very new. I was still trying to kind of learn the character. And I was definitely actually afraid to run into a Taz because I did not have a lot of experience against Taz.
Right, right. Not much people do actually.
No,
I gotta say,
definitely. I think
dude,
he's
it's scary.
definitely one of the more underrepresented characters out there, I would say.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Um, Streamline, how do you feel about Taz and his place in the meta right now? What do you think he needs? I guess I would say.
I still stand by this, but Taz's hitboxes for his normals are very underwhelming and bad. That's the way I think because when you think about how actually hard it is to hit some of the moves on Taz, it's actually difficult. It's actually difficult. Like hitting an up air on Taz is damn near impossible challenge. It's damn near impossible.
Yeah.
Side air is one of the more usable ones, but at the same time, it's like about the size of a period in real life. Um, and then down air is one of the moves that is like, okay, so if you catch them with it off stage, they die, but you have to catch them.
Yeah,
That's the hard part.
or else you're just assed out.
Like I think 90% of the Taz players wouldn't give a damn if they took that combo out of the game, but made the hitbox better.
You with that, Ova?
That's honestly what I've only asked for. Like, if they're gonna do anything to like Taz's double dare or stuff like that, at least make his moves a little more better so that he doesn't have to rely only on spacing. Because like personally, I feel like a lot of like just landing moves with him in general, you have to have that good read or the right spacing just to land it. Especially when in a game like that's dodge based and stuff and online, like you got to be on point. Honestly.
Yeah, I hear you on that as well. Taz is definitely one of the more uniquely troubling characters I think in the game because everyone knows he is kind of, I would say, lower mid tier right now, and he kind of has been for most of the game's lifespan, right?
Mhm.
So what do you think Taz needs in to survive in the meta over?
I just think, well, like Streamline kind of covered it right there, saying that he just needs better hitboxes in general, especially for like a neutral situation, because he kind of just has to rely on like what, like maybe two tools, three tools just to get him for neutral, and most of those get stuffed out. I feel like he needs something along the lines of a better anti-air. Like I've said this too many times, and I already know I sound like a broken record, but Sandwich having a hurt box is gotta be the dumbest thing in my opinion. But
Mm-hmm.
I like that
Like,
they
it
did add
shouldn't
some
have a
active
hurt box.
frames to it though. What's up?
It's a sandwich. It shouldn't have a hurt box.
Yeah, exactly. Like
It's
the
not
same thing
fair.
that was done for Garnet's down there, where they took off the hurt box on her fist. It just makes it, makes sense to take the hurt box off a sandwich.
Well, to me, it does. It makes less sense to take the hurt box off a fist than it does to take the hurt box off a sandwich.
Oh yeah, I
Like
see what you're saying.
Garnet's
Honestly,
fist is actually her fist.
yeah.
Exactly. That's like the situation with
It's
Dhalsim
actually
in
her
Street
fist.
Fighter.
Like what?
That's like a situation with Dhalsim in Street Fighter. Just like if he hits you from far away and Ryu catches with a nice Shoryuken on time,
You're
it's
dead,
gonna hit Dhalsim.
literally, and
Yeah,
that's the trade-off.
But
Yeah,
oh,
same thing
but
should be with Jake's Fair too. Something like that should happen, but
that would be nice.
Yes, yes, that would be absolutely amazing. So that Jake's couldn't just mash that move.
Definitely be a nice change. It is definitely odd that it's literally not even a part of Taz's
It
body. It's
was
just a
like how to
sandwich.
explain it. At first, I felt bad for the Jakes, but I don't really anymore. I don't really anymore
Why
because
did you feel bad for
yeah,
the Jakes in the first place?
when that actually happened,
Wait, when what happened?
Arm having a hurt box.
Oh, okay, okay.
Right. At first, I felt bad because it looked like it sucked for them, right? But
yeah,
there's zero risk to it.
yeah, but that's
Like
that's just moves in general for multiverses. I feel like in like a lot of other characters, but that's definitely one of those controversial moves, I'd
because like
say.
if you're gonna have that cider have the power to cover the entire off stage, why shouldn't I be able to hit it if you get that much reward out of it?
Mhm.
Now, if the
Yeah,
issue is if the issue is you're trying to cider and neutral, cider's not your only tool. Stop spamming cider. Use it when you're in advantage.
definitely. I think it needs some sort of downside as well because of how good of a move it is. Like it is definitely
Right?
hard to hit, but once you get good at using it, it is like it's like a giant sword that just covers so much area. It needs some sort of downside. If you could like juke out the arm and then be able to just hit the arm, I think that would add for a lot of odd interactions. But
To me, like take you could take it two ways. Either you keep the arm hurt box, right? But instead of being able to drift it 180, only make it like this much, right? Only
yeah,
this area instead of this. Just make it this. Like you don't have to like make it cover so much. There's so little risk. There's
I agree.
I
like not every
agree.
like there's characters that can punish it. I can punish it, right?
And then there's
Ironically enough, I
me.
can punish it, right? But like, how is a Taz gonna punish Cider on Jake?
So back to Taz. What else do you think? We're talking about Jake Sayre, by the way. Well, maybe the best Sayre in the game. Definitely probably one of the best moves in the game. Um, but what else do you think Taz needs aside from a better anti-air? Do you think there's much else he needs to improve his toolkit? I still do think he has some great tools. One of the
um,
best advantage states
person
in the game.
personally, I feel like Taz is just he's good at where he's at. Like he doesn't need any other personal changes, in my opinion, for him to step it up to the meta. Because I mean, you've seen what I can do with Taz being in the state that he's in. So like, if I feel like if I just had that counterplay, that extra counterplay to be added, I can prove that Taz is meta.
Mm-hmm.
Twos, I'm not too sure because I still need to work on my twos, but in ones for sure.
I will say I think Chenzi's doing a great job of repping Taz in twos.
I agree.
Um,
I've seen him go off with two. Taz, sorry.
Yeah, definitely. Like he is, and I've played him a number of times in ladder, and he is a demon with Taz and twos. Because I think his teammate could really make up for a lot of Taz's weaknesses, so he could just
Right.
more focus on the advantage state. You know,
And he knows how to work with most of the other characters in the cast.
really,
So
definitely.
I think that's a good adaptation he has just in general. So like he knows what setups to go for, he knows what to not go for, and he knows what's safe. He has a lot of practice, which is great. So like I salute to him. I always agree. More Tasmanians the better. Taz Nation, you already know, gang.
Hmm. Some great Taz
You know,
impressions. Some quality. So yeah. What? Speaking of what did make you main Taz in the first place? What drew you to him when this game first came out?
So I forgot who I was watching on Twitch. I think it was either Mango or DK Bill.
Hmm.
Was it DK Bill? Yeah, I think DK Bill or Mango was playing Multiverses as Taz. And me in general, I've always thought Taz was one of my like favorite choices of Looney Tunes. He wasn't my all-time favorite, but definitely one of my selections and like who I preferred. I would say Sylvester was my favorite. But anyways, besides that, yeah, I saw DK. I think it was DK Bill playing, and I was like, his kit is crazy. The cyclone is cool. Like the fact that it's his signature move, and they made it into a kill confirm is dope.
Oh,
And I
that
was like,
move
you
is
know what?
so
This
good
this is
too.
this is crazy. Cause like when I was watching Multiverses when they first did the introduction of it or the trailer, I was like, I didn't see anybody I was like super interested. I was like, oh cool, they got like Harley and Batman and stuff like. But it was no one that really drew me into it. Once I seen Taz was in it, I was like, oh nah, like this is crazy. Like I gotta try him. And then yeah, one thing led to another, man. I've been with Taz since day one.
That's awesome. I remember that that Taz side special, like day one, like week one. You guys remember that? How crazy that move was?
Bro, that move was so crazy. Like
I
it
wanted to
was
mention, I as much as that move was crazy, I think they should bring that back.
because there's so much counterplay to it, right?
There's a
Yeah.
lot of counterplay to it, but I don't
Projectiles.
know.
I feel like
Any
Dying,
character.
it wasn't
Let me
explored enough. It was not
let me put
explored
it
enough for the
straight up.
game.
Actually, literal. I'll literally show you. Actually, now that I think about it, I'll literally show you. Instead of
Are you
right,
gonna
you know what they say,
spin
right?
in camera?
So because of the way the stream is set up, guys, this is more optimal for us. We can all do more from this screen on Discord. Watch this. Ready? Boom. Should be streaming now, right? So what I wanted to show off is kind of like the amount of answers there is to Taz Tornado. Like the unbelievable amount of answers there is to Taz Tornado.
I could
yeah,
name like two already.
Pick a character.
Me?
Anyone.
sure.
Uh, Bugs Bunny.
Sure. There's at least 50 answers. All right. First one that comes to mind, though. That's the first one.
Mm,
Off rip. That's the first one.
Could his Sair beat Taz Tornado?
Here's something people don't know.
Down air can. It looked that even looked like it should have hit.
Down
Yeah.
there really beats Taz in anything. That's another thing I wanted to talk about as
Sair
well.
looks
Is
like
like,
it probably could if you space it correctly, right?
bro, down there, any down there in
No,
this
maybe
game
not.
will shut Taz down, bro.
Better won't do it, but you can catch him during the start.
On the startup and
Um,
probably on the end lag
but
as well.
literally every time he throws a tornado, I could just I could do that. I could do this. If he's in the tornado, he has to cancel it to come after me with that.
Basically, it's either I cancel it or I get hit and risk being a
And
disadvantage.
what? If a Taz just mindlessly tornadoes at me, I could just throw my hammer out. Like, oh, he's gonna tornado. All right. If he does it before I can do anything, I'll just rotate. He does it beforehand.
So easy to run from it.
Like it's so easy. It's really so easy.
Alright,
And
so
the
I
only difference
definitely
from
go ahead.
Like
the only difference from day one tornado compared to this one is that day one was a little stronger and lasted longer. That's about it. But like regardless, you were still able to counterplay it with just throwing out a down air.
From what I remember, it seemed a lot stronger. I don't know if it was just the fact that it was a new game and it was very different, but the game definitely was in a different state then than it is now. So I think when there was so many new players, dying to a move like that is very, very frustrating. And the last thing you want is for new players to give up on the game because they can't beat a move that kills them at 80, even if there is like clear counterplay.
yeah, I can see
Um,
that.
I still think the move is fine the way it is. I would prefer buffs to other areas of Taz's kit, obviously like the up air. Um, I think is a good change, and just his up tilt, the sandwich being changed would be really helpful. I definitely think that would be a good change. But another character we talked a little bit about pre-stream is Finn and the state he's in right now. Ova, you want to talk about how you feel about Finn right now?
Um, I think we can all agree that we hate Finn to start. But at the
Oh
same
yeah.
time, I think playing as Finn is definitely like as I learned, I tried playing Finn myself, and I was just like, it's definitely not easy. He definitely takes skill. Um, I saw something about people saying, "What if Gem was not in his kit?" I think that would be stupid because Gem is probably the best tool in his kit, and probably what makes him have that awareness on the map. Because
Mm-hmm.
he like no, don't get me wrong, he'll be in an advantage state for most of the time, but like that really helps him travel, and it's cool to see what you could do with Gem as well.
Yeah, I definitely agree about the uniqueness and how I think Gem is one of the most unique moves in the game and has a lot of creativity behind it. Um, I personally just think they should make it cost 200 coins as opposed to 100. I think would add up a lot quicker. I think it would make Finns have to think a lot more about how they spend their money as opposed to now it's just like you could just throw out Gem like it's nobody's business. You don't really have to, think about it twice.
I feel like people sleep on Apple as well. Apple's so good.
Oh, so I was actually gonna mention something there. So I've been seeing some Finn players lately using Apple in their combos, and I was very happy about that because the Apple works the exact same way as Taz Apple, but better.
It's better how?
It keeps
Um,
you in his stun longer.
no, not even hitstone related. So this is actually a buff I really wanted to see for Taz. Oh boy.
Why? What's the Apple is definitely a really really good tool. I'm happy they gave ammo to it because it was insane the amount of stuff
Yeah,
you can do with it before.
but
Um.
this is the scary part. So I'm streaming my stream again. Sorry guys. I know
Mhm.
I'm doing this a lot, but like I want to show you first, right, on Taz, right? When you vomit the apple, it obviously hits them, right?
Mhm.
So on Finn, you waste some coins real quick, right? When you do this with the apple, it hits them as well. Although it didn't
Oh,
hit
I
him there.
lost to Taz
If you
Tornado.
yeah, it loses. That I think it's just done with Taz. Because
So
look,
does
if I go
Gem.
like this, I don't think
Yo,
Gem
this bot's
does it.
messing you up right now, bro.
Hold on, bro. Hold on, bro. I got this.
Wait, so
Just gotta
what
make it
is the
hit.
point you're trying to prove though? What is different
So
from the Fin
basically,
Apple?
the difference is that you can pick up the apple.
True. Okay.
It keeps pressure
Um,
just
right
by that
on
alone.
on Taz, what I would love to see is a buff. Is if you're gonna give it to Finn, why aren't you giving it to Taz?
Mhm. I
Why
would I
can't Taz do
actually.
that? That would make him a really strong character on that alone.
It's a good
I
point.
On
agree.
I
that
would give
alone.
him
I
another
definitely got
projectile.
that'll be an interesting way to work with Taz actually as well, because I wouldn't have to just rely on having Anvil for that situation, and it'd be cool because Apple would do like it has a different knockback compared to Anvil, and I'd probably be able to do so much more with it.
I actually really like that point. I think that's a great point. Um, and I think that would be a good change for Taz a lot because he doesn't really have any real disjoints, and like Anvil is a great way for him to be able to get in and use the projectile. Um, and I think adding another projectile to his kit, like being able to just pick up the apple after he uses it, would be really nice. It would probably be kind of hard for him to get usage out of it, but even then, like it would be very, very helpful.
I also think it'd be cool to just this is just a random thought and idea that I came up with for Taz, but like it'd be cool if they had like some type of move where I don't know if you're familiar with like Richter and the Belmonts in general throwing their axe.
Mm-hmm.
But like
Mm,
if Taz had something where he's like instead of throwing an axe, he like throws like chicken legs or food or something like that.
mm.
Would definitely be unique.
Of course, not with the same knockback as what axe would do for a Belmont, but like just as like
Mm-hmm.
some type of get off me tool or like a projectile tool.
That brings me to another point that I think is something I've been saying for a long time about Finn, and that would add really good counterplay is the ability for anyone to be able to pick up his gem and his apple. What do you guys think about that?
I think stuff like that should only be like for like actual like projectile, like for bugs, for example. For bugs, I think that's something that would work well and should stay as a counterplay for bugs, because bugs has those projectiles. Like those aren't like random projectiles that only bugs can use. It's like in the game files, it's like silly Q stuff. All right, so that's like something that's been in the game for a while. something like Finn Gem, no other character has but Finn. If that makes sense.
But you don't think opponents should be able to pick up gem and use it to their advantage?
I mean, in that
I
case,
personally think
Anvil
that
could
people
be
should
the
be able to
same
break.
thing.
I would
I
love
personally think
Anvil to
that.
be the same way.
Oh my, that'd be terrifying. Like
Well,
I
like
think
that adds counterplay though. I think.
It
it
does.
does, but I don't like that counterplay only because there already is counterplay to it. Like there's perks that are counterplay to it already, and on top of that, one you can break Taz Enfield if he doesn't have it. You can just
Hmm.
break it.
But that's
So
so
like
much less fun
I don't
counterplay
quite
than being
see.
able to pick it up and use it to your advantage.
Oh, that should okay.
It'd make the
Like
game more hype. I agree.
you,
Thank you.
I don't know. I actually disagree with that because like I think like what would be the point of playing the character if everything he does gets countered?
But like it's not everything he does, but that would just make it so you have to be way more intentional with how you use your projectiles. Right now, you can just kind of throw around apple or gem or anvil without too much worry, but if it's like, "Oh, I have to throw it and hit them," or I have to throw it and make sure it goes off stage if it doesn't hit them, or else my opponent could pick it up and use it against me, that would be like a whole different level. Or you could even I believe like maybe you could catch like how when items are thrown at you, you can if you react perfectly timing, you can catch it in midair before it hits you.
I think an idea like that would work, but the game would, of course, have to be in a more balanced state first before
The
any
thing
like
I'm
kind of
scared of
change like that
is
works.
like the thing I'm scared of is because like there's like a ton of answers to that stuff already. Like there's perks, there's straight up movement alone. You could use clear the air and you could literally destroy it just by spot dodging. I've done it plenty of times.
But is it a bad thing to have more counterplay to projectiles in particular? I feel like projectiles in particular should have as much counterplay as possible.
I think like I'm very big on like letting a game cook over time, if that makes sense. We don't know for sure how used people how like how much people are used to these characters. Like Taz is like an underplayed character. Finn not so much, right? But I also think that his gem is just overtuned and it should be able to be broken. Like it's you can't actually break it if they pick that up. They pick up the gem and they throw it at you. As opposed to Taz, you can, which is
Yeah.
like
So you think gem
it's kind of
should
like
be able to be broken consistently, which
yes, like let's say right you're on
And
Rick for
breaking it.
let's say you're on Rick, right?
it's only like
And
certain moves though, right? Or certain projectiles, I believe. It's
no,
very
just straight up
inconsistent.
it's just straight up like it should be physical moves should be able to break it.
Like
Like
anvil.
yeah, like it should have a health to it, right? That
Hmm.
literally lets it get one shotted. And that like if it touches the ground, it shouldn't matter if Finn picks it up or not. You should be able to break it. Should be able to break it because the way
So
it
even
is right
like
now
in
is
the air, say you could break it with an attack as well.
yep, like an up air or a down air, something like that, or an up special even. Like any physical move. Obviously, projectiles will break projectiles as always, but I think a physical move should break it as well
Okay, fair. Over, you
because like
agree?
it has too many uses
In a
basically.
sense, yeah. But like
Like
like I said, I just feel like if the game was just in a more balanced state, what you said, Behance, would probably work.
I'm
yeah,
still gonna be all
I would take
for.
it either way.
Because if there was more counterplay for every character, then this game would like probably, like I could see stuff like that working. It's just there's lack of counterplay to certain kits versus certain characters and matchups and stuff. Like for example, Jake most of the time, and like if a Jake player plays correctly, and sometimes he doesn't even have to play correctly, but there's literally nothing I can do as Taz. He just invalidates him.
Hmm.
Fair.
I agree.
Mm-hmm.
I agree very wholeheartedly. In fact, I think a lot of players don't even like even on the broken characters they don't even counter properly to the fullest
I
potential.
completely agree. I think Finn is a prime example of that, and I think
Mm. You
um
don't. It requires no spacing. You're free to do whatever you want, throw out whatever you want.
I think Finn is the best character in ones right now in the game, but I still think there is plenty of counterplay to his kit and the way he is right now, because he's
When
far from untouchable.
What made you change from Rick to Finn in terms of best and ones?
Well, I never really was definitive about Rick being the best. I think Rick definitely has some weaknesses, and he's also very, very hard. I think Rick in like the perfect world, if everyone was like as good as possible at this game, I think Rick would probably be best in ones. But in a realistic world, I think Finn is the best. I think Rick is just too hard to consistently play how he needs to be played, or maybe it
Right.
is just me. But either way, I think Finn in the state he is right now is the best character in ones, maybe right ahead of Rick.
Mm.
But I think Finn still has a lot of counterplay to be explored and a lot of room to deal with his kit that people still don't realize and people don't really
Mm.
think about. Partially
Cause he
because he's
even I even use Finn to cover matches like Batman. Like, and Batman for me is like just terrible to fight in every aspect.
mm-hmm.
But when I play as Finn, it's just a lot easier, way easier. Same thing with like art situations like Arya. Like those two, it's like I just need those two to cover the matches that I can't do with Taz. That's
Yeah.
it.
I think Arya would be another interesting talking point because there's been a lot of discourse about the state that she's in, and it's funny because she's kind of fallen off in a sense. I would say,
In a sense,
um,
yeah.
in the way where I feel like months ago it was like Arya was a demon and impossible to deal with and just running shit, and now like you don't really hear as much, you know.
hmm I
Um,
think it's because the auto combos don't really work as well. Because I remember when that was a huge thing.
I think people just kind of learned how to DI.
Either that, I mean, I don't know. Because I remember there was a point where like DI didn't matter, like it just automatically hit you.
Yeah, I think they
And now
changed
I
up
like the
special.
fact that you have to read DI. It just adds more skill cap to the character, which and I don't know why, but like stuff like that just makes me want to play a character a lot more.
I completely agree. And I think up special is in a solid spot right now. It's a mix of like the person getting hit having to mix up their DI, and then Arya having to try and read where uh, where they're DIing and what to use because of that. I constantly mix up my DI depending on my percents against Arya's, which I
hmm
think is a necessity.
Yeah, definitely adds more, reading your opponent and just it's definitely an IQ test, It doesn't just make it seem one brain dead situation
Mm-hmm.
or a one trick pony thing anymore. Because like I remember I used to hate fighting Arya like way worse than I hated fighting Finn or Batman or something. But like now, like when I fight Arya, it's just like okay, I feel like there's counterplay to it. Like
Definitely.
it's like I'm not gonna lie, I could still I would still love it if Taz could at least eat dagger like any other projectile he eats. Because if I'm eating a rocket, a Bugs Bunny rocket, right? We all know a freaking rocket would blow the crap out of somebody. So why can't Taz eat Arya's dagger? What is it gonna stab him?
It's a fair point.
That never really made sense to me at all. Yeah.
Like if I had the chance to at least eat dagger, there'd be even more counterplay for situations like that. But the only counterplay I really have for versus Arya players is just to like, bait an option off of them and space out my moves. I have to read where they're going at all times. Or play the defensive option.
Mm-hmm. Streamline. Where do you think Arya stands in the meta right now? What do you think
I
her
think
place is?
I think Arya is every bit as good as she was. It's just a lot of the people realize that some of her stuff is actually counterable. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I'm one of the big advocates that Arya is nowhere near as good as she was because, again, like I was saying earlier, like the more you let the food cook in the oven, right, the better it gets. The better it gets. The easier it gets, the harder it gets, whatever. Things change, right? Like when you leave food in the oven too long, it can burn.
hmm
So what happened was, Arya was dominating for too long. People learned counterplay over time, right? Like, for example, right? Everyone used to think that once you get daggered, it was the end of the game, right?
Yeah,
And
I
that
was one
ended up
of
not being
those.
the case. That ended up not being the case. You could just dodge the dagger.
The timing
reactively.
has to be very precise though, because I still struggle doing it myself. Like I
I
was
would
on
say that,
King of Hill
but
yesterday
like
and that happened.
good characters with good dodges specifically, to give you an example, can consistently dodge out of it. It's all about the way you look at it. Because, like for example, if you try to look at it and you're trying to predict when they're gonna go to the dagger, you're not gonna dodge it. It's literally reactable, right?
Hmm.
So if you just sit there, create distance, and you wait for the dagger, you wait for them to come to the dagger, you can react to it every time.
For me, I kind of just have to tornado when they dagger or dog pile.
Like I literally just dodge it. I create distance. I fought Wavy at Armageddon. All I did was create distance and dodge the dagger every time he hit me with it.
Mm.
He's very, very good at landing that dagger too. He's insanely good at it.
Basically, the thought I had while I was fighting him was like, why am I like getting scared when he daggers me? Why don't I just figure out how to deal with the dagger reactively using like the basic mechanics of the game? That's the thought I had. So I like straight up was like, oh wait, wow, it was that simple. Then I just won because his entire like best advantage state I dodged by pressing the dodge button.
But like once I learned that, then I'd probably like the counterplay to that or whatever, or just dodging it correctly. I think I should be fine with the matchups for Arya at least, because it's really not that bad. Like it used to be terrible fighting Arya as Taz, but like now it's really not that bad. And like you said, you have to like really just wait and figure out counterplays to certain matches.
Hmm. People don't have the foresight to realize that Arya's definitely one of the simpler characters in the game with a very basic game plan and not too much creativity behind it. So I also was always one of the people that said she wasn't as good as people thought and that she would fall off over time.
She's definitely not an expert character though. I'm sorry.
No, she's not. How do you think you could though make Arya's kit more unique?
Making face steal work on online as much as it does offline.
Face is such a good tool for her.
Face
I,
steal is
I
so
like
good.
using it so much. And it's good because you can use it to stop your momentum in the air as well. So like you just fake people out.
Definitely one of the cooler mechanics in the game, and I think the coolest part about her
I
character.
think Arya becomes an expert character when you add face stealing to the equation.
Word. Definitely. Okay, yeah, I agree on that for sure.
The thing is, it's very like not encouraged because of the way online works. Once again, you know,
Hmm.
it's
What
a
is
tough issue,
the difference with it online as opposed to offline? I'm not aware.
but basically for most moves in the game, they're like literally glitched. So like if you're on Wonder Woman, for example, right? If you're a Wonder Woman and you get your face stolen by an Arya, when he does the Wonder Woman charge, it puts him in the air. So like he's like a millimeter or two in the air while he's doing the neutral light. Where if you go on land, it just doesn't normal neutral light the way it's supposed to work.
Hmm.
Or
Okay.
like if you're playing against the bugs and you steal his face and you do like Nair on Bugs Bunny, you float regardless of the glide. You float when you do Nair,
Oh yeah, you're right. Because
but
even go ahead.
on Arya you fall. On Arya you fall down to the ground, and the move drops every single time if you do it in the air.
Huh.
I didn't know that.
All right, and like every single character, like Taz, when you charge the Nair, right,
Yeah.
you float while you're charging it, and then when you let go, you fall. Right, on Arya that's not the case. You just fall. You just fall.
Really? Wow,
Basically,
I didn't know that.
on most of the moves, like there's like no gliding property for some reason online, but offline there is. So like to give you an idea of like the creativity that Arya could have, if you steal Jake's face, you could effectively stall just like Jake
Hmm.
offline, but online, no sir, you cannot.
I'm low-key getting ideas watching you fight this Tazbot. Like, notice he's like standing in one spot doing the tornado.
Yeah,
Like, I can use that as like if you're approaching me kind of thing, you know?
yeah.
Is there any other things? I mean, I guess that's a good transition into just consistency throughout the game. I think there's a lot of examples of inconsistencies which need to be fixed because in a competitive game, I think consistency is like one of the most important things, if not the most important.
Yeah.
Literally.
So I think that's another prime example of something that needs to be consistent offline and online, and just throughout all of the face steals that Arya has. I hope that's something that they're working on right now.
That's, I mean, I can imagine because that's a lot of. If they're gonna add all these characters, they're gonna have to have a face steal mechanism for each one.
Mm-hmm.
It basically it only gets harder and harder to fix the more characters they release.
Mm-hmm. I'd only imagine. It's got to be a pain. Hey,
I
it's
know
a
people and
crazy
like
mechanic.
a lot of people want the characters and stuff, which is of course who doesn't want more characters in content, but like I feel like it's just that's not something that should be focused on.
So, what do you think should be the focus, Ova?
The gameplay and the servers.
The
Well,
servers,
for
I think, definitely we all agree with, but that's something that's like reserved for like people separate from the main team that's working on
oh yeah, no, I've seen that
gameplay.
part. I've seen that part, but I'm just saying like I'm not like it's cool that we're getting more characters, but I feel like it's still early for a beta. Like to like how many characters we are getting in a beta?
Mm-hmm.
Like if
Yeah, and they
anything, like
should be focused
there-
on bug
eh,
fixes and consistency, right?
yeah. But I mean, at the same time, it's very generous of them to even give us characters in a beta. Like what games really do that?
Agree. And I think it confuses people into thinking that it's not really in a beta and it's actually just released.
Right. Because what Freemakers has what 4 characters,
Yeah.
and like
Yeah.
this game we got basically almost a like I would say a pretty decent roster for how long it's been out.
Definitely agree.
Oh yeah, this is something else I wanted to talk about. If you land on Finn right before you move on something, you can actually almost you could slide charge it.
Like
Wait a
change your
second.
Like a tech.
momentum.
No, you could just slide off the side of the map while
Oh
charging like an up tilt or something.
Yeah, well, I think every character pretty much has a move you can do that with, I believe.
yeah, I
At
could
least that
kind of
I've
like
seen.
I
But
could
it's
nair off the side and like go into down air basically. Like it
it's
slides me
crazy
off.
on Finn because you can charge a down tilt, for example, off the map. You can
I would
charge
love
it
to
down
see
tilt.
down tilt. I've seen
Charge
up
the
tilt for
jab.
sure, but
Yeah, up tilt happens a lot.
I think Rick definitely has some crazy usage, which I've used a little bit, but not quite as much with his up special. You can charge the jetpack off stage, which is kind of crazy.
It's actually insane, yeah. It could be really
Um,
cool.
so last topic I would love to talk about is with about a week left before season 3. I want to know what you guys are looking forward to and hoping for in the start of season 3, and then just even throughout the season. Ova, what are you hoping to see upon the release of season 3, and then like as season 3 goes on, what kind of additions to the game are you
Um,
hoping to see?
I'm really big on like content, cosmetic stuff like that. So like I'd like to see more stuff in the shop. I'm a big fan of like customizing like the banners and your profile and stuff like that. So definitely more profile banners, more profile icons, sorry. Maybe more taunts, just more stuff to be purchasable in the shop. I feel like it's a little too limited. Uh, what else? Like I said, excited for more skins. Hopefully no more rain dog skins for a little bit. And what else? What else? What else? Of course, new characters. That'd be dope. But I'm interested to see like the introduction to guild mode.
Okay,
Please.
definitely.
We
Would
need
love some.
guilds.
Yep.
We need guilds, guys. It's getting out of hand. We need guilds at this point.
Word, and last but not
We
least,
already
my
have
Taz
guilds.
buffs.
For
Intangibility on
me,
sandwich, baby. Give him that HelloFresh sandwich.
Make it a one hit KO. Or like I said with Apple, give Apple the same circumstances and effects that Thwack has in on Heroes Can Smash.
Just
You
the
get hit
instant
from
kill.
Apple, you just lose a stock.
Genuinely, I would love to see it work the same as Finn Apple.
that I
Yeah,
would like
that would be cool. Yeah.
that would add a lot more neutral capabilities to Taz immediately.
Agreed.
Because it's
Um,
like literally the same move almost at this point, except worse than Finn's.
Hmm.
for no reason, just like the rest of his
Like
kid.
it's literally the same button. It's actually the same button when you really boil it down. Like it's the same exact button, but worse.
That's so tragic, to be honest.
Like it's the same button, but it's worse. Like, oh, I can pick up something and throw it at one, right? Like it's like Finn Jim without being able to teleport. Like that's still good. That's a combo too. In fact, that means
Mm-hmm.
you would be able to like instead of having to waste your apple, right? Since your apple hits twice now, right? Since you can pick it up, right? You can pick up the apple, throw it to combo. So you could Sair, pick up apple, throw it, Sair, for example. It actually adds like so much. With one
Mm-hmm.
simple change, you get so much.
Imagine Taz traveling with Apple while he's comboing. That would be crazy.
I
Like
think that'd be
that'd be
really unique.
actually a good change.
I'm all for more item play in the game as well. I am a big fan of item play in the game. So Streamline, what are you looking forward to in season 3?
So obviously, I'm looking forward to the battle pass. I think that's always a good thing for this game. It always gets people hooked on. I think new characters will help, but more than anything, I think what everybody needs is quality of life changes.
Mm-hmm.
More than anything, is quality of life changes because, like, right, a character like Finn, right, can do things with a with something that's similar to Taz's stuff, but Taz can't do it for some reason, even though it's the same exact projectile. Like that doesn't quite make sense to me, right? Something else. This is a personal thing, but I don't like the RNG aspect of Bugs Bunny's box. I would love to see a rotation so that I can get more creative as a player. Like
Mm-hmm.
that would let me get way more creative as a player if I had the RNG taken away.
Like if
Yeah.
you can select what comes in the box, kind of thing.
Not select like a rotation.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Set
Like you know what's
order.
coming out next.
Yeah,
Got you. Yeah, that
basically.
makes sense.
That would allow me to do cooler setups.
Cause then you know you know what's coming out next, so you know what to
Yeah,
prepare or what to set up for. That'd be dope. Yeah.
and without making and that's basically a way to buff a character without making them overbearingly broken. Just a
Mm-hmm.
quality of life change,
Yeah.
right?
I
Like
definitely would agree with that. That'd be really unique. I think you've been saying that as a bit for a bit, right?
yeah,
Taking away the RNG and having it be a set order.
that's
So
something I was looking
anything
forward.
else for season 3? I definitely got my thoughts with Streamline. Is
More
everything?
maps.
More maps, definitely always a good thing.
Yeah, I was thinking more of yeah, ranked. Whenever you guys can, you guys don't need to rush it, but like ranked would be very helpful for like motivation and like kind of just knowing the state of the game right now. 'Cause I think a lot of the community is asking themselves where are they, and they can't really validate themselves really well in tournament because everyone has good and bad days. But if you can play something every single day, then it's a completely different story, like ranked.
Mm-hmm.
You kind of get a better idea of your skill level and what you need to work on from ranked, and it adds a competitive aspect
Yeah,
on top of everything.
that's a great point. All right. So for me, I first of all looking forward to the battle pass. I think a lot of people can agree this one was rather underwhelming, especially for the
Word.
grind. Like I played this game as much as almost anyone, and I only just beat it like
I
a
still
couple days
haven't done
ago.
it, bro.
It's
Do
insane.
not make Bugs Bunny the rank 50 skin again. Let me add that.
Mm-hmm.
I might be a Bugs Bunny main, but that is not okay.
We need
Not a cool.
give us better skins in the battle pass, more unique options. I'm a big fan of the ring outs, so like as many I love getting there was some good ones
Yeah.
for sure
See?
in this battle pass, but definitely some cool ring outs. I think that's one of the most unique parts about the game. The ring out animations are really awesome.
Mhm.
Um just more content in the battle pass to make it worth grinding, especially if it is such a grind like it has been this time. Um just please make it worthwhile and definitely more skins for unique characters as opposed to just and Bugs Bunny and Rain Dog. Give us some different characters, get some new skins. You guys already know the skin I want, and it will be very interesting. I know a lot of people have seen that Pickle Rick has been rumored to be a new character as opposed to a new skin.
which would be
Um,
crazy.
would be crazy. I wouldn't mind it as long as he has a really, really unique move set and he could scrap. I would love to play an aggressive version.
I feel
But
like
either way,
he's
I
gonna
would
be
love a Pickle Rick skin, if anything.
if he's not gonna be a skin, he's gonna be like Gizmo size.
Oh, that'd be so funny though. That'd be so awesome, and
He's
and
gonna
he
be
could
he's gonna be
scrap
the
and
actual. He's gonna be
just be a
exactly what you're looking
pickle.
for in Gizmo. He's gonna be exactly what you're looking for in Gizmo, and he's Rick.
Oh, that'd be so incredible. So what else do I want from season 3? Obviously ranked, big one, but I'm pretty confident that will be coming. Preferably some map bans. Obviously best 2 out of 3s. Um, and I think guilds is another huge one.
Huge
It's the
one.
only thing that is still grayed out in the menu. A lot of people have already made guilds, but I would love to see it in the game so then we could get a lot more. We could do guild battles, crew battles, all sorts of awesome things, add more content. I think that'd be phenomenal. Phenomenal for the game.
Yeah,
And
overall excited about season 3.
definitely excited. Last thing, I agree with Streamline completely about quality of life changes. I would love a patch of just all bug fixes and all quality of life changes and nothing else. Nothing would make me happier
Yo,
than
Oh, something else, just in case Tony's watching, because I'm seeing who is in the chat. I'm seeing what you guys are saying. Please take a look at Iron Giant. You cannot balance Iron Giant until you give him everything that he has.
just make him
Do
work,
not screw
please.
with that character until you fix his bugs. Do
Please.
not screw with that character until you fix his bugs. Please, please, guys. It's not worth it. If the character functions properly, he could be extremely good or extremely bad. We have to see. We have to see.
I definitely agree. I've been vouching and saying that we need Iron Giant bug fixes for a long time. I legitimately don't even know the bugs the character has, but every time I talk to any Iron Giant players, they say that character has a million bugs. So please just make that character work. I really hope that. And I was dead serious. Nothing would make me happier than just seeing bug fixes just for every character. Like the amount of bugs out there is just crazy and not healthy for the game. So I know it's probably a pain to get that stuff fixed, but please, for the importance and lifespan of the game, that would be huge. Um, so yeah, I
Gizmo
think
should not
that's.
be Iron Giant weight.
I disagree. He definitely should be. Gizmo should be the heaviest character in the game. He should be heavier than
No,
Iron Giant. You're right.
no.
Iron Giant weight isn't heavy enough. Make him heavier. So
Yeah.
last but not least, just one question I would say that I want to answer that stood out to me, um, on the post about today's episode, and it's a question that I've heard a lot about, and there's a lot of new competitors that have been playing this game, and a lot of just younger people that want to go to tournaments and compete seriously that struggle with nerves and anxiety, and that's totally normal, and that's something that like even the best competitors I would say still struggle with. But my 2 cents on it is you have to first and foremost be confident and believe that you are the better player regardless of who you're fighting. I think that is a must. Is a lot of anxiety and nervousness comes from not believing that you're the better player, not believing in yourself. So if you believe that you are the better player and you deserve to win and you will win, you will not be nearly as nervous as if you are thinking, oh, this person next to me is better than me, they can beat me. Any of the above, you have to believe that you can and will win going into the match. I would say that is the biggest thing you can do to release anxiety and nerves in matches, in tournament, or even just online and ladder.
You could even just take a deep breath because that's what I do, honestly. Like, I just take a second.
It legitimately makes a difference, 100%. Something that simple makes a real difference. Definitely a couple deep breaths, slow your breathing down, try and slow your heart rate. Um, any advice, Streamline, as far as this goes?
For me, the way I see it is you need to be hard on yourself because if you're not hard on yourself, right, how are you ever gonna improve? You know, right? Because looking off of what Ban said, which should always be a thing, by the way, there's no excuse. It doesn't matter if you're playing against the best player in the game. What do you actually want to like believe? Do you want them to win?
No.
So you have to believe you're better. You have to be better. You have to be better. That's just that simple, right? And
Yeah.
if they have something over you, right, they're not better than you until they beat you. And even then, guess what? You go right back and you grind. You get better than them. You get better than them,
Yeah,
right?
you
And that's
VOD
what you're
review,
gonna
all
believe.
that stuff.
And that's what you're
Mm.
gonna believe, right? If you still lose, there's more review, but you can still get better than them. You feel me? You have to reach that state where you're confident against them and you're better. You have to reach that point, right? It
Definitely
doesn't matter how
agree.
many times you lose, because when you win, if you know why you won, you're better. Reach that situation again, right? And from there, you can't just like, right, okay, you got better than this guy, right? Let's say you got better than the best person in the world. If you're not hard on yourself, you're gonna lose Mr. Best in like 3 seconds. In like 3 seconds.
Yeah, because you have like a certain a stepping stone that you give yourself, like
It's
you
like
put you set a goal for yourself when you get in those type of situations, and like um if you overanalyze, sometimes it could be your downfall, which is why what Behan said about like breathing and stuff like that, or just what Streamline was talking about, reviewing. Like you just gotta find your what works for you as well.
Yeah, always believe in yourself, even when you lose to your opponent. Like I lost to Streamline in bracket, and I still believed I was better than him, and then I came back and beat him in losers bracket because I didn't lose confidence even after losing. I still knew I'm better. I just got to make the proper adjustments. And because I never lost confidence and never for a second believed like, oh, I lost because I'm worse. I lost because I made mistakes. I was able to bounce back and make a big losers run. You definitely have to have the confidence, and I think that makes a huge, huge difference.
I definitely
Um,
believe you in that because of how many times you've made comebacks.
literally.
even like
He's
in
reversed
game
people
too.
in their finals.
In
He's
game,
reversed.
like you can't give up. And I like you said, I've made a lot of comebacks in game, in sets, any of that stuff. So, um, all right, closing thoughts, guys. I'll start with you, Streamline.
Want quality of life changes all across the board. You guys need to remove as many bugs as possible, because guess what? You want to focus on the longevity of the game, right, or the servers, right? But guess what happens after you fix those two? It's still gonna be there, and people are gonna complain about it as if it was the servers before. It's not something that should be in the game. It's not an excuse for you. You have got to fix it as much as you can, as much as you can. Do the most you possibly can. Even if it's one character that gets completely fixed every patch, that is huge progress. Huge progress. That's leaps and bounds of progress. Insane progress. If you fix characters, you're gonna see what your intentions were for those characters actually work, so that you can actually balance the characters properly. Like, a lot of characters are bugged and people don't even know about it. How would you know?
True.
How would you know? If no one says anything or explains anything or even shows what the bugs are, how are you supposed to fix a bug that you don't know about?
Yeah.
Like, that's like literally that's the main point. Bug fix.
I'm definitely with you on that. Bug fixes across the board, something we're
Call it
hammering
bug fix.
home, and
Call
super
it.
important for quality of life.
And
Like
hitbox
you
update.
need to do that for a competitive game like this. Ova9k, closing thoughts.
Hitbox update, and it's Taz time all the time.
Love
Yeah,
it. Appreciate you so much for coming on. Hope you guys enjoyed the episode. Ova, I hope you enjoyed coming on the podcast. That is
Yeah, it
a
was a
wrap
pleasure.
for our second episode, guys. I hope to improve every single episode. Me and Streamline will keep bringing this to you on the weekly. I'm excited for next week. Have a good
Yeah,
one, guys.
yeah.
Peace.